The cows?
Brontosaurus. They're
Yeah, the
big.
cows.
Welcome to Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast, the show where we're going to talk about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. So, I am drinking this itty bitty bottle of Fireball whiskey poured out for my homies, the dinosaurs who died from an asteroid, and then the flaming locusts we see in this movie. So, what movie are we talking about?
Dominion.
Oh my god, the Jurassic World movies. Okay, is this guilty pleasure or hate watch or both?
I could see it being a guilty pleasure, but for me, it's a hate watch.
It was a little bit of both for me because I was cackling, laughing my ass off at parts of this movie. That
I laugh at hate watches.
Yeah, that's true.
But
so, you want to talk a little bit about where we are with this movie?
Okay. We barely remember the previous two. A Brontosaurus dies from a volcano.
Oh,
in the
that
second
part made
one.
me cry!
That's all I remember.
I cried at that part.
And that and the fact that, like tigers, dinosaurs are surprisingly affordable on the black market.
Yes! You know what would have been funny? Because in this one, dinosaurs are just fucking everywhere. If there was a Tiger King type of character who was like, yeah, I got these raptor eggs, I'm going to sell them for $2,000 each in this Las Vegas hotel room.
Oh, God. They could have done something with that. The logistics of this movie don't make sense. Dinosaurs are just everywhere now. They're just all over the fucking world.
Because they escaped. They burned the Isla, the Nubar, the original one. No, but then there was the Jurassic World theme park, which they already warned you that this goes against God and nature and everything else to bring these creatures back. There's a reason why they're gone, just like there's going to be a reason why our dumbasses are going to be gone.
How does an island, a single island of I almost wanted to call them Pokemon, dinosaurs, populate the entire continent as soon as they hit land?
I guess because they have that weird lizard DNA and they can reproduce on their own. I don't know. Okay, so
we're from Texas. These motherfuckers would be dead on sight.
On some ranches, because we have people. Some people like to have fucking zebras and ostriches and camels on their ranches.
Some people would do that. Mostly they'd be dead. And nobody ate a dinosaur steak. I'm annoyed.
Yeah, I was kind of... Would you eat dinosaur?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'd feel kind of weird about... I feel kind of weird about eating apex predators like shark and crocodile or alligators because I have a respect for them because they can kill me. I ate alligator once and it actually tasted good, but then I felt kind of bad. And I've eaten shark once and it was okay. It was too fishy.
I love alligator.
But I felt kind of bad. Like,
alligator's so good.
I have too much respect for those animals. So anyway, so in this one, dinosaurs are just everywhere because they went on and made the Jurassic World theme park, even though history has shown that is not a good thing. So the dinosaurs escape, and they have the opening scene is kind of cool because it's this crab boat out in the Bering Sea.
It's okay.
And this big waterborne dinosaur reaches up and yanks it into the ocean.
We're jumping all over the place. I don't care.
Does this movie.
The very beginning of the movie, we were like sort of like, ooh, this is gonna be a good
it's
guilty
gonna be funny,
pleasure.
Yeah,
it's gonna be just so dumb. I don't even care anymore.
Yeah, because they have it starts out with a newscast, and it's kind of funny because it shows like pterodactyls chasing people at the beach.
They kind of fucked that up actually somehow.
It could have been funny.
But okay, so the way it starts is exactly the way it finishes. But the beginning of the movie, they're like, oh god, look at everything that's happening. They're flying down and eating people. There's this. You can't hunt for, like, fish or tuna anymore because these big fucking things will come and eat your boat. And then at the end of the movie, they're just like, look at them in the water.
Oh, the Triceratops is walking with the elephant.
They survived.
Aw. So there's a whole lot of shit that happens.
They just changed the music, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, just in case you guys were wondering, we're not movie reviewers, as someone was so deftly pointed out to us. We never purported to be. We're not trying to be. We're just two assholes who like to watch movies. We're just talking about it.
We've already established this in another review, like the one right before this, but I guess we'll say it again. So.
Well, but I want to put out that this is not a review of Jurassic World Dominion. This is just us reacting to seeing how ridiculous it was.
It's a scattershot.
Yeah, just this movie's a scattershot. So they bring back Chris Pratt, and he does the thing where he gets the raptors, especially Blue, to kind of calm down when he holds his hand out. But it's funny that everybody in the movie starts to do it.
Yeah, like it's almost, they almost start to insinuate this is what you just do to
That's what
dinosaurs.
You just hold your hand out and like, calm, stay calm.
Bad.
Bad. No. You listen to me. But, I mean, if there were a raptor right there and this dude was keeping it still, maybe you'd do the same thing to just be like, maybe this is what I should do.
When the girl does it later, though, she had, like, some bass in her voice. She's like, look at me! I'm like, oh, shit, I'm looking.
Yeah, so...
I want to eat you, but...
So Chris Pratt is back, and Bryce Dallas Howard, and here's the character I really did not care for in the previous movie, Jurassic World, the Lost Kingdom or whatever. The girl who's the clone... Who's basically Hermione Granger. She sounds like her. She looks like her.
They should have got Emma Watson to be the older her. I swear, their accents are like dead on same person,
same eyebrow game. So there was the whole thing, which was boring in the previous movie, of this girl who is a complete clone.
Oh yeah, I didn't.
And so they want. I guess they kind of explain it like her birth mother, who was her, figured out a way to repair her DNA so she wouldn't have this disease or whatever. And so, of course, they want to study that and do that kind of DNA therapy to humans, which that always kind of walks a questionable line of, like, do we want to produce our generation of perfect humans?
I feel like that's what you would immediately start doing, though. Like,
I think we would if we
could.
From
the very first movie, like, original Jurassic Park, the very next thing should have been like, okay, we're not doing that again. But what if we figure out how to genetic fuckery humans and shit? And
I'm surprised they never went that far. So they bring back like, all the original characters.
In the real world, we're like making fake meat and stuff out of, like production of gene whatever. And we're shooting people in the eyeball with stuff to fix their broken eyeballs. That's close to home. I'm just saying, like, if it's happening in the real world, they could have added that to this.
No, because they had to have the main characters so they could do the close-up shot on them. Like, Laura Dern's in it, Sam Neill, Silver Fox, hot Jeff Goldblum. He looks good with silver hair.
He's a fucking idiot, though.
Ian Malcolm, yeah, he comes back and just says rambly weird stuff, but it's Jeff Goldblum. So there's an evil corporation that is kind of in control of a lot of the dinosaurs, and their big thing is they discover out in, I say this in huge air quotes, West Texas. I grew up in West Texas. The landscape they showed does not look like, it looks like Iowa or something. It does
I do
not
like
look
that they were
West
super
Texas.
Not specific.
No, they didn't say like Lubbock, Texas or something, because all you have out there are cotton fields. You don't have like corn and shit.
Yeah, there's like West. That's it.
Yeah, West Texas. But whatever. Anyway, the big bad thing that happens is not dinosaurs, it's bugs. So they create these horrible big nasty looking locusts that come and eat all the crops except the ones that are genetically engineered by biosyn. It's the big evil corporation that wants to have the monopoly. We see this in movies all the time. We saw it in Left Behind with Kirk Cameron.
That's a really weird like place to go with your brain. Like, as far as thinking about the person who wrote it, that's such a strange thing to come up with. What if the evil organization, instead of like I thought it was gonna be that you're genetically altering the plants to like make them bigger and better and whatnot, and like they're gonna be the number one supplier, whatever. It's always the supervillains are always way over the top, even though the original movies didn't have villains in general. But instead, he's like, what if I made a crop? And I sold that crop. And then I made locusts to eat everybody else's shit. Like,
that doesn't grow the biosyn. I feel like the food supply would already be fucked with. You have huge, several ton herbivores eating all the plants.
Oh.
You have giant predators who are killing all the other predators.
Yeah.
So the ecosystem's already fucked. A couple of fields of grain and locusts are not going to make a difference at this point.
Humans fucking up the planet would probably go down a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And
because we got locusts and dinosaurs to do that.
Spoiler alert. They didn't get rid of the giant locusts.
No!
They're just...
It's a plot point. In fact, they set them on fire. And they just fly out into the air on fire.
But at the end, there's like... There are in the wild free locusts still running around.
I think
they have like... This is the genetic one that we fixed. And he's gonna, like, round up all the other ones, I think.
And give them, like, a pathogen that kills them all
But
or something.
all he does is, like, go, like, okay. And it flies away in a giant, scary fucking tornado of locusts.
And what's kind of funny is B.D. Wong is the character who's been the scientist in all of them. And he's got this new genetically altered locust in a little cage. And they almost, I swear, they tried to make this locust look cute. Because it was the savior that was going to take out. This is the nice one. All of the scariest stuff in this movie is not the Tyrannosaurus or the big Gigabitosaurus, whatever that big one was called. There were some scary moments with that, and there's some moments with Velociraptors. It's just kind of the Velociraptors have sort of taken a back seat in this movie. It's not that. It's the fucking locusts and bugs and close-ups. It was gross.
Graham just picks one up and holds it while someone else takes like DNA evidence or something. I would be...
So
if you had to grab this big fucker that's the size of a football, like
and it's squirming and it's flapping,
and you just got to like get the thing. I don't care how much you like bugs. I feel like you would freak the fuck out, like screaming like Homer Simpson the whole time, and then just throw that bitch.
The bugs are terrifying. There really aren't as many. There are some scary moments with dinosaurs, like oh shit, like when they jump out to chase you, and
at the beginning there is until you realize no one will ever die.
No, okay, the plot armor in this movie, they move so slowly. Like there's, okay, I want to talk about the moment at the end with the Tyrannosaurus, because you know the Tyrannosaurus has to show up, and I get excited. I was like, yes! You could hear that scream, and I'm like, oh shit, the water's about to shake. The Jeep's gonna get rolled over, so I still get excited when the Tyrannosaurus shows up. Of course, at the end, they had to have it in profile with the circle, like Jurassic Park, you know, like the logo, whatever. But they just stand there and think, the moment I heard that thing scream, I'd be back in the building. Yeah, a couple of characters die, but it's ones that you expect, like the evil head corporate guy. He's not even that evil, he's just greedy. And so...
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of evil.
He's kind of evil.
It's just weird how he is evil.
He's kind of whiny. Like, he's not really that...
Oh, yeah, he's a little bitch, but...
But there's no real terror. Once you kind of figure out, okay, when Chris Pratt is riding a little dirt bike and some raptors are chasing him and they don't catch him...
At all.
And they're...
Like, the original movie, half of the cast is eaten.
And you feel like the whole time...
Every time. You're worried you're the next one. No one had plot armor in that.
Yeah, because that one's kind of a take no prisoners one. The same in the book.
Obviously the best one, but I'm gonna defend the sequels. We know, everyone knows that The Lost World was bad. Like, it wasn't good. It was dumb. There was a girl who gymnastic kicked a Velociraptor. And that's not ridiculous anymore, based on what happens in this movie. But the third one was okay. It was...
I don't even remember it.
That's the biggest problem with it. But it's still people stuck on an island with danger all around. Like, that's the selling point. I know it's dinosaurs, which is like the cool part, but the selling point is like, it's a horror movie, kind of.
Because you really don't have a lot of places to go. The power's out. It's dark. These things are faster and bigger than you. And you really don't get that sense of peril as much because the main characters always get out of it. They barely even get a scratch.
I'm going to rewrite the whole movie real quick. Okay, we talked about how we live in Texas. We know that people be taking those fuckers out left and right. So, okay, they get to the mainland. For the most part, people take them out. They kill them. But some crazy-ass farmer or rich person, or combination of the two, or whatever, a weed kingpin that's out in the middle of nowhere, keep it in West Texas, starts breeding them underground. But at some point, they get out, and let's say something happens to the power. You can't call out to, like, the military to shut this shit down. And now it's a town filled with people that need to not die. They need to survive. Mm-hmm. That's a better movie.
And speaking of that, we were kind of wondering throughout this movie, where's the military presence? We have Tyrannosaurus running around.
Yeah, like, everywhere they go. Congress is totally safe. They're just like, well, Congress is meeting to talk about... Where are the dinosaurs here? There's no dinosaurs around Congress.
Of course there aren't.
Fuckers. Of course they protect themselves.
Yeah, so of course they do. So most of this movie was ridiculous in kind of this was more fun to watch than I think the other Jurassic World movies. It was like it's unintentionally funny because it's so stupid.
It didn't have it was so convoluted though. Just don't pretend to follow the plot.
No.
Don't.
The plot's ridiculous.
They always make disaster movies have too many plot points. Always. Because you gotta, I have a plan. Fuck, the plan didn't work. I got a new plan. Fuck, that didn't work either.
Yeah, with the first one, it's just like, we're on an island filled with dinosaurs, and the power went out.
In this, it's like, Chris Pratt will go from place A to place B. Some shit will happen. He will almost die. He'll warn the next person, don't worry, this is what we're gonna do. Bye-bye. I promise I'll get to you. This plane's gonna crash. But I'll see you later. Not like I'm trying to make you feel better about my death. Just like, no, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm bougie. I'm gonna land this fucking plane. It won't explode. And I'm gonna get out and defeat a maybe raptor bird that can swim.
In ice water.
On ice. And I won't be cold at all.
No. Plot armor.
And it's that the entire movie with every single solitary character. If you die, it's because you were a villain or because I don't know your name.
Yeah. So I want to talk about kind of my favorite part of the movie, but also one of the dumbest parts of the movie. And at the end, Tyrannosaurus shows up, like I said before, and you gotta love the Tyrannosaurus. And there's also this other bigger carnivore that it starts with a G. I call it Gigabitosaurus, whatever. And these two are fighting with and the humans are down there. They're about to get on a helicopter, and they see these two come up. You hear the Tyrannosaurus, because the big one comes around. He's like, ooh, food. And the Tyrannosaurus comes, and the other dinosaur looks at it like, the fuck you looking at? And they just stand there, first of all, like, you would run inside the building. It would take them a minute.
Anywhere.
Anyway.
Run to the helicopter.
But at the one moment, I know it was meant to be serious, but this was hysterical. We were dying. Alan Grant's character goes, this isn't about us. Crash! The big dinosaurs get together like, these two have beef. Really? They're fucking dinosaurs.
That's when they ran. He was just like, this isn't about us. And then they fuck off. They start running. Like they had to have that realization, like, oh, I don't have to be involved in this at all. I'll just leave.
No, and I guess the Tyrannosaurus is sort of the hero in this one, sort of.
I mean, it saved them in the original one, too.
Not on purpose. They were
still,
probably running off like, hey, I was going to eat you.
It didn't save them on purpose in this either.
No, but what happened is, okay, so Tyrannosaurus gets knocked over, and you see the light come in its eye, and its eye, like, opens and narrows, like, I'm going to kick this dinosaur's ass.
Like, it got knocked out like Rocky. And
yeah.
It was like,
I'm kicking this guy's ass. So he gets up. And then there's this other big dinosaur that comes in, this big bird thing with these huge claws, like a sloth.
Sloth claws on a velociraptor bird.
Yeah, and so they all kind of look at each other. This is way too much anthropomorphizing these animals.
They could, yeah, it was weird.
It was so weird.
Like,
and so the Tyrannosaurus, it kind of, you see this light bulb go off in the Tyrannosaurus's head. It runs into the Gigabitosaurus and knocks it into the claws of the big sloth bird thing. And the big sloth bird thing, it's like in a movie when somebody kind of accidentally stabs somebody.
like, oh shit!
And they make eye contact and they're like, oh god.
Shit.
And so it falls, and the Tyrannosaurus is just like, yeah! And screams, and the other one screams back, and that's the end!
They flew off, and they didn't let us finish.
Like, was the Tyrannosaurus gonna then eat the other one, or were they, like, gonna high-five? Like, yeah, we got rid of this asshole.
As soon as I swear this is the only time he used his arms in his whole life. He ran over, and he kills
and
it.
pushed it over, like, was the Tyrannosaurus smart enough to think of doing that, or was it just an accident?
It looked like he was like, oh, Edward Scissorhands. And I thought that the dinosaur that landed on the Scissorhands was like the Scissorhand dinosaur was going, oh shit, and like fall on the ground, and then T-Rex would go like, "Nr," and kill him too, and he'd be like, yeah, what's up? What's up, bitch? Like,
but that's not what
I'm number one. I'm number one.
So anyway, it just was a little too sentient. Like, come on, it was hilarious.
Every dinosaur was too sentient. They were all like, and which made them look really bad. Also, this doesn't look good. This is bad CGI. They look like they weigh nothing. They don't move right either. Like, because they do these weird like almost dog-like movements with their features. They don't move normal. Mm-hmm. In the original ones, like, the Velociraptors had 2 movements. That, and, like, like, that's it. That's all you needed. Just, like, I'm gonna crouch, I'm gonna hop,
So,
I'm gonna bite.
I guess what I liked about this movie are a couple of those unintentionally funny moments, like the Tyrannosaurus choosing how it was going to kill this other dinosaur. Blue, the Velociraptor, her baby was cute.
I got a good one.
Okay, what?
I'll couple this with a really bad thing. They have homage moments, but they're really stupid. Like, it's a repeated line from the original one, or it's like a very similar situation, but not quite.
Like, zoom in on the character, like, I remember they were in the original one?
Remember when she took her glasses off? No. But, take out all the actual, what do you call that? Like, drama and intrigue.
An actual story?
That stupid shit.
Yeah.
They took all that out. But, okay, so everybody remembers the flare moment from the original one where, what's his name? Ian Malcolm holds up the flare. He's like, come on, chase me! And he runs off and throws that shit away. We think he's dead, but...
Oh, when the Tyrannosaurus goes after him. Yeah.
And in this, he does the same thing again, but he has... It was like a fork or a branch or something, and he has a flaming locust on it. On the end, and he's like...
Remember, the locusts that were set on fire to cover them up flew out of the building, and they're still on fire.
Miles. Eventually they died.
Okay, so talk about this part, because
so
it's funny.
He's, getting the attention of the dinosaur, the Giga Chad dinosaur or whatever, and it's just like, nah! And as soon as it does that, he's like, fuck you.
Javelins it into its mouth, and then it exhales like a dragon.
It becomes a dragon. Like, the fire didn't go out, it was just like...
I wish, okay, if they're going to make the animals that sentient, I wish the dinosaur had exhaled, and then it has this moment like, oh shit, I can breathe fire. And then it runs after the humans.
Like...
Yeah, so, okay. Then we got into talking...
That was dumb, but it was like, holy shit, yes! Like,
so some of the stuff was so over-the-top ridiculous that it was fun.
And I want more of that.
Yeah, they should have just done all of that, made it a true comedy, but... Is it worth renting? No. I
just watch it on Amazon Prime right now.
Yeah. Remember when we went to Mineral Wells in the summer and we almost decided to go to that one, but we went to Lightyear instead?
Yeah, we made the right choice.
We made the right choice. That was money well spent going to see Lightyear. So we were talking about series of movies, and I know most movies are a money grab now because they keep remaking movies that came out in the 70s or 80s, things like that. I grew up in the 80s, and I don't really remember that happening as often. I mean, movies have been being remade since movies existed, but it seems like they're doing a lot of it now.
Or like sequel series, where it's like, it's not just a sequel and it's not a remake. It's like, we're going to take this existing IP and just continue it, but it doesn't have to have too much to do with the original. Like...
Yeah, like Star Wars. That just hasn't worked well with Jurassic Park. You want to sell dinosaur toys, then re-release the original one.
It doesn't work great with sci-fi, but sci-fi is the one that keeps doing it. Star Wars did it, fucked it up. These people did it, fucked it up.
We like some of the Predator.
Star Trek, I guess, did pretty good at it. I don't really care for Star Trek.
I like some of the additional, like Alien vs. Predator and the Predators.
Yeah, those are pretty fun, because they usually stick to that, like, you're enclosed somehow, plus thing trying to kill you.
Yeah, but okay, we decided the best long-running series of all times are Rocky and Rambo.
Yes.
Sylvester Stallone. Because
it's just about one guy's life across multiple decades.
So, and it's not, it's over the top, but it's not a Tyrannosaurus figuring out how it's going to get its friend to help it kill this other dinosaur.
Rocky never suddenly had to start fighting underground boxing matches to save America or anything. So
yeah, so can I talk about recommendations?
I think...
I don't really have anything else to say. This movie's ridiculous. Would we recommend this as a fun hate watch / guilty pleasure?
For me, I call it a hate watch because the original Jurassic Park is so good, and this seems to not understand at all why it was good.
The original one was so scary. It still scares me.
Because people actually died, and now they're not like an enclosure monster movie. Now it's a disaster movie.
Yes.
And disaster movies are so different. It's just...
Mm-hmm.
And the disaster movies are kind of always bad, which is part of it, but this is Jurassic Park.
Yeah. So at the end, okay, I'll talk about the ending of the movie. He alluded to it earlier, is that the good guys escape. And then they just kind of like, yeah, we all live at peace with the dinosaurs. It's cool. So we left it as a sanctuary where all the predators are, except for Blue and her baby. She's out on Chris Pratt's farm.
Which means they're gonna keep
breeding.
Reproducing
But
animals that will eat people.
They show like a brontosaurus eating the redwoods, and then
they show that underwater fucker again.
And these humpback whales are just like, let's get the fuck out of here.
And pterodactyls in the sky.
Flying with birds, which I bet the birds love it, because birds are evil, and they probably love being legitimized with these pterodactyls.
A pterodactyl took down a whole fucking plane.
By itself.
And you're telling me that we're just gonna be like,
oh, we're okay with that. No, and this dude just did it out of spite.
Those things are eating babies. You know that video that kind of blew up, like, it's forever ago, like over probably a decade ago? It looks like an eagle came down and snatched a baby out of somebody's arms. And okay, well, it's not real. But that's gonna happen, like, every day. People just like,
every day.
Isn't it a nice day? And then the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, no.
And then the stupidest part was, in profile, we see the savannah of Africa with silhouettes of elephants and triceratops
just
walking
running
together.
around together.
Just walking together.
Like, I think they're gonna fight.
Yeah,
I think they're gonna fight. I don't think they're gonna be like, oh, cool, you're like my cousin, right?
Yeah, so in the original one, it ended and the good guys got away, but it still fucking sucked. Like, it sucked.
Some of the good guys got away.
Some of them.
Half of them died.
Yeah.
Like, good half. Like, okay, yeah, you didn't kill the kids. They didn't go that far. That'd be pretty fucked up. In the third one, in the second one too, they kill a kid immediately at the beginning. So, they didn't shy away from murdering children.
Yeah.
They had a bunch of little scavengers just eating a little girl.
Eating
and it was
babies,
like,
yeah.
This is some serious shit, man.
So let's talk about recommendations. I actually have books that I'm recommending. So the first one is a novel called Raptor Red.
I knew it.
By Robert T. Baker. And he's a paleontologist who was a consultant for the Jurassic Park movies. And this is a really interesting novel because it's told from the perspective of a female raptor. And it's not, she's not anthropomorphized or anything like that. It's just kind of follows this raptor in her life of her mate dies and she has to go off and find a new mate, and she meets up with her sister, and they have to survive predators and find water and food and all this stuff.
Like
it's just kind of like a
Fox
year.
and the Hound.
Yeah, it's just like a year in the life of this female velociraptor. And so of course I have to recommend the original Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, and then also The Lost World by Michael Crichton, which is way better than the movie. And it is scary, and it's got some good villain comeuppance at the end. But different people die in the books than what happens in the movies, and so there's more peril. It's a lot scarier. A lot of science-y stuff in there, so I get taking that out for the movie. But those are the books I would recommend. I guess if you can watch this movie for free, then I'd say maybe it's a good laughable guilty pleasure, but don't pay any money to rent Jurassic World Dominion. It's
if
not
you
worth
already
it.
watched the other two and you didn't just hate them, then you'll have fun with it. It's fine. All media is subjective. We're gonna say this again.
Art is subjective, so are your opinions about it.
So we think it's stupid as hell, and we enjoyed watching it, but I'm calling it a hate watch, and Melanie's maybe a little more on...
I'm a little more on the guilty pleasure side.
Either way, it was fun to just see how stupid it was.
And I never need to see it again.
And my recommendations are King Kong.
Yes.
Not Kong, the newest one, or all of that. We probably need to just watch those. But King Kong with Andy Serkis as Kong.
And Jack Black and
it was
Naomi
directed
Watts.
by
Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson. I was like, Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson. It's really good. It's a long movie, but man, it's good. I've remembered like the big moments of that since I was like 13 or 14 when I went to the theater to see it.
It's
And, like, it's stuck in my head.
And it also has dinosaurs in it.
Yes, the dinosaurs, and they look like Okay, I know they're not based on they're based on dinosaurs, but they're not like
A certain species.
they're not a replica of this particular, that particular. They're kind of like, what if this island existed and evolution still happened, so they'd be a little different. And in fact, this movie, Dominion, stole a scene. I will dare say stole, of Velociraptor-ish creature jumping off a cliff while following somebody on a motorcycle. That happens in King Kong.
Yes, it does.
It's so good. So good. King Kong beating the fuck out of T-Rexes is so fun. Anyway, so that's one. Two, back to monster movie series, which way too long, and these are guilty pleasures flat out. No matter which one you watch, some are better than others. But the Trimmer series, I love the first three. The fourth one is dumb, but it's fun, I guess. It's like a prequel, sorta. And I haven't seen the other one. There's like Frozen to Hell, and there's like 3 or 4 more I haven't seen. I'm sure they're terrible. The first 3 were actually pretty decent. Anyway, so those are my 2 recommendations. I don't read a whole lot of monster books, so I don't think I have anything for that part.
Okay,
But,
so
yeah.
that's it. So if you want to follow us, we are on YouTube, Twitch, Discord. I don't know how Discord works, but
It doesn't matter.
okay, I don't know. You can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, and you can follow us on Instagram at Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast.
Don't get eaten by a raptor when you're walking through West Texas.